Okay. Okay. I'll do it. I'll talk about how I got back into Pokemon. I'll start all the way back in 2015. I'll talk about what I was investing and collecting in back then. I'll take you through the whole journey all the way to the present, talk about what I'm investing and collecting in now. I'll talk about what I see for the future of the Pokemon hobby. I'll answer all the hot button questions like, what's in my collection? What am I invested in? Am I worth $1 million? Is this all I do for a living? Everything you want to know will be answered in this video. But first, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. And also leave me a like and a comment and let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, I do respond to each and every one of my comments. Last but not least, before I get started, I do want to give you a little update on kind of what the next few videos are going to be like. One is going to be a Japanese sealed product video by demand in the chat. And then the other one is going to be, dun dun dun, a PSA, CGC, BGS slab video. Because I know everyone thinks that I absolutely hate graded cards, and I'm not about that market. But, on the contrary, that's actually most of what I did when I got back into Pokemon, and I'm very knowledgeable about that side of the market. The reason I don't do it now is because I was in it so heavy, and because I'm knowledgeable about it, because what I see in the current market and beyond into the future is not the kind of thing that I want to be in. So I will explain that. I will explain other good investments in graded cards if that's something you want to do, because I get it. I get it. The point of Pokemon cards is to open them, enjoy opening the packs, enjoy getting the hits, enjoy the artwork on the cards, and that is a very huge side of the market that a lot of people do enjoy. So I do want to do one of those videos. Those will be the next two videos up. But today, how did I get back into Pokemon and what was my Pokemon journey like? All right. I'm ready for this one. This is going to be a long one. Grab some popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy this one. This is going to be the longest video on the channel. I can already see it. So, going back all the way to my childhood. No, guys, I'm not going to do that. Look, all of us were the biggest Pokemaniacs, Pokemon masters back when we were kids. I'm sure all of us had, all the cards, had all the games for Game Boy, for N64, everything. So, I'm just going to leave that part out. Obviously, I loved Pokemon more than anyone I knew as a kid. So, that was that. Now, coming back to about 2015, I actually got back into Pokemon without even getting back into the cards first. So, this was about 3 years after college. I was about 25. And it was kind of in that weird no man's land where you're out of school and you have a job, you're making money, so you're like an adult, but you don't feel like an adult. And all your friends are working, you're married, but both you and your wife are working, and you don't have a lot of that old, joyful, childlike fun kind of left in your life. And you start thinking about all the things you did for fun when you were a kid. And so you start thinking, hey, I want to start buying those old vintage, game systems I remember and play those games I remember being so fun and nostalgic as a kid. So I started buying things like Nintendo, original NES, Sega Genesis, N64, PS2, and I started buying the games. I was playing the games, Mario, Sonic, everything. And it got to the point where I started playing Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium and enjoying the games, loving them just like I did when I was a kid. And one day I was sitting there and I started thinking, man, I wonder if I could buy the old cards still. Because of course, me or my parents sold them at some garage sale along with all my Pogs and Beanie Babies and things like that. And so I got on eBay, I did the do, and I found them. I found base set. And base set was the first set that I found. I loved it. Bought a base set. What did I actually get? Well, it was, probably about $90. It was, a bunch of light played cards. There was actually a base set 2 Raichu. There was some Shadowless in there because people didn't know what Shadowless was really at that time. And but I didn't know any of that at the time. I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Oh, these are all the original cards. Oh, look, there's Charizard. Oh, there's Pikachu. This is amazing. So happy. And I started thinking, hey, this isn't even all the Pokemon. What about Jungle and Fossil? I need to complete all 150. So I find Jungle, find Fossil. They were like $40 a piece. Bought those 2 sets. Same conditions, but obviously first editions, unlimited, they were all scattered around. Didn't matter. First edition Aerodactyl in there, there was a first edition Vaporeon. No one knew what they were doing. They were just completing sets, based off set lists. They didn't care about first edition, unlimited, the shape of cards back then, really. I mean, it was craziness, right? So got those sets, and then the next thing I'm thinking, the next day is, man, I wonder if card shops are still around. It'd be so cool to just go to a card shop. Got online, sure enough, still a card shop. At least Google said there was. So got the directions, drove to the card shop. It was still around. I walked in, and it was like being back in '99. They have everything set up on every wall, you know, all the different card games, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. Back at this time, you know, I never saw black and white. I got in when it was like the early XY. So XY base, Flashfire, Furious Fist, Phantom Forces. Those were the sets that were kind of, I guess, in print or out at the time, okay? There was no black and white. So that was kind of the time I got back in. And they had this one glass display case, and it had stacks of base set packs, jungle packs, and fossil packs. Okay, it had a base set starter deck and the 4 base set theme decks. They had 2 first edition Charizards. Okay, one was $600, one was $700. All right, so it was ridiculous, and the $700 one was like a near mint type card. I mean, not like mint, not 9 or 10, but it was near mint, and I'll get into that later. So I was out of my mind, and at this time, you know, spending $50, $100 on Pokemon was a lot, all right? So, yeah, I bought one of each base set artwork, one of each fossil, one of each jungle, and I bought the base set starter deck, and all together it was like a little over $100. Like, these were very, very cheap. I think base set was going for like $25, and the jungle and fossil were going for like $15 each. And so, yeah, it was like $150, I think, for almost everything at the time. And, yeah, so I ended up getting out of that card shop and going home, and I had like the start of a sealed collection. And it just kind of like set me on fire. I just wanted to start collecting all the things I could never get as a kid, or I did have and opened, or whatever it was. And so I went crazy for the next year of my life. I bought every set from WotC. And let me preface this by saying I never got involved in Gen 2 as a kid, except through the Game Boy games. I did. So all the games I played red, blue, yellow. I played silver, crystal. I skipped gold for some reason. I played sapphire, and I also played fire red. So I played kind of everything through Gen 3, but I never collected cards past Gen 1. So I never cared about, you know, the Neos and on. I only collected WotC first generation. So I bought all the sets through Gym Challenge. I bought every theme deck all the way through Gym Challenge. Yes, that includes Tempest, that includes Thunderstorm, that includes the Jungle gift box, that includes the Tempest gift box, and the Thunderstorm gift box. The Tempest gift box was even hard to find back then. I had to wait months for one to even hit the market, and I had to overpay for it at the time just because it was the last like theme deck gift box thing I needed for the collection. I bought all of the packs. I bought every version of all the packs back then. So I bought all the short crimps of all the sets based through Gym Challenge. I bought all of the long crimps, like the hanging pack crimped, all the way through base through Gym Challenge. I bought the blister packs for base, jungle, and fossil. I don't know if they made blister packs for the other sets. I could never find them. If they did, they were never on, ever. Even back then, they weren't on the market. I got every variant of base sets. So I got the 1999-2000 pack trio variants. I got the Black Star Triangle variant. I got the Shadowless variants. I got the first edition variants. And I also had one Venusaur first edition blister pack too. So I had like basically everything, right? I got one of those demo packs. If anyone's seen those, they were like a few $100s back then. I think they're thousands now. Let's see. What else did I get? I basically just got everything. Oh, I got all of the Game Boy games. None of these are sealed, if anyone was thinking they were sealed. These are all complete in-box. So just basically all the original box, all the original, you know, inserts, the original game, and all that with the strategy guides. So basically I can still play them all, still use the strategy guides, but the value is not like you would think as like a sealed game would be. But it's fun to have. I think they're still worth $300-$400. Maybe Crystal's probably worth a little bit more. You know, I got the old original Game Boy. I'm sure you saw in some of the videos. The old original Game Boy. Even when I play these games now, I don't use this. I use like an SP, but I just wanted to have it. Just something to remind me of my childhood. yeah, so I'm sure you've realized by now I didn't use the word invest at all one time yet. That's because I didn't even know what Pokemon investing was, okay? I didn't even know there was a thing as investing in Pokemon. I was just buying everything that I wanted from my childhood. I was collecting it. I was spending the money. I wasn't, allocating the money. I was spending it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just having fun buying stuff I liked. And it wasn't until a friend of mine came over to my house, and we were just hanging. It was just a normal day, just hanging out. But I got that urge. I was like, hey, come back to my bedroom, dude. I gotta show you something. So we go back there. I open the closet door, and I pull out my tubs of Pokemon product, and I show him. His first reaction is he looks, and then he looks at me and goes, "Did you really keep all this from when you were a kid?" And I'm like, "No, dude. Are you serious?" He's like, "Oh, then where'd you get it all? Like, a garage sale or something?" I'm like, dude, if you found this at a garage sale, you'd be like, jackpot. This is probably like $2,000 worth of Pokemon product at the time. And he's like, you just went and spent $2,000 on a bunch of old Pokemon stuff? I'm like, kind of. I'm like, over the past year, I've maybe bought like 100 or so a month of it. He's like, why? I'm just like, I don't know. It's awesome, right? This is cool. He's like, yeah, it is really cool. I'm staring at it, and I really want some, to be honest. I'm like, I know, right? So we talked a little more about it. He went home. The next day, very next day, I get a call from him that night. He's like, hey, man, so listen, I'm on eBay right now. I'm like, oh, jeez, here we go. Yeah, dude, so I'm on eBay right now. And didn't you say you paid like $25 for those base set packs? I'm like, yeah, they were $25 at that card shop. And he's like, you think they have any left? I'm like, I don't know, man. I haven't been there in a couple months. Why? He's like, because like everything on eBay is like $50 to $60. I'm like, no, dude. Like, do you know how to use eBay? He's like, yeah, I know how to use eBay. I'm like, all right, I'll get on and show you how. So I get on eBay. I'm on the phone with them. And I start searching. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, so I go to sold listings, and sure enough, they were all selling for $50 to $60. And so I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. I guess other people are starting to buy them, or I don't know why the prices are rising. So then I start checking all my items that night. All of my items were rising. Some less than others, but some were rising more than others, like a good amount. And that's when kind of it both clicked, and all the innocence and joy of the hobby dissipated that day for me and him. And that was a sad day. That was the day that pure collecting and fun died, because that was the day we became Pokemon investors. And after that day, everything clicked that, hey, we're all growing up, we're all starting to get money, and people our age are going to want to collect their childhood. And they're going to want the things that they grew up with, because it makes them happy. And our parents grew up and they bought comic books, and they bought, sports cards, and they bought coins, and they bought all the things that were important to them when they were younger. People are going to buy the things that are important to us. People are going to buy video games. They're going to buy Pokemon cards because that's what's important to them. We knew they were going to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Too, but we were like, hey man, we got to pick something. We don't have money to throw at everything. Like, I was way more into Pokemon than Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going Pokemon. He's like, yeah, well, I say we stay with Pokemon and just go hard on it. And so that's what we did. And we made a lot of smart decisions, obviously made some mistakes, but first thing we did, I talked about in another video, we started buying the lots and collections back then. You could get these huge lots and collections, like, here's a big lot, my brother told me I could sell his old Pokemon cards, starting at 99 cents, and you could pick these things up for next to nothing, get your value back immediately, just sort the cards out, basically, and, you could list them yourself and make money, but we got them. This was around the time I was learning what PSA grading was. I was a part of E4 finally at this time, and so we started buying lots. We started grading all the near mint cards. We kept all the light played ones and put them in binders. We started making like Neo binder sets and Legendary Collection sets and First Edition and Shadowless base sets, and we were just making other sets that I didn't have and that we both didn't have, and so we get the cards back. We'd sell like the lower grades because we didn't want to have 7s and 8s. We were just like 9s and 10s. And so we'd sell all the 7s and 8s. We'd recoup all the money from the grading because grading was so cheap, and the lots. And we'd be in the profit just like that. Like literally we'd stack, stacks of 9s and 10s of every lot away for free. Absolutely free. And we continue to do this. At the same time we were doing that, we also moved into box breaks. We went through and did the financial analysis of a lot of the sets, and basically there were sets like first edition Fossil was the one that we moved in on the hardest. We bought a case back then of first edition Fossil booster boxes, and I know that sounds ridiculous. That's like, how'd you guys get all that money? It wasn't that much money, okay? It was like $7,000 split between 2 people, which was $3,500, and we knew that we were gonna open it, sell the light packs, and grade the cards, and then sell, you know, whatever we needed to get our money back. So we were like, hey, let's just throw it on some credit cards, and, you know, within 2-3 months, we'll have all the money back in profit, and we'll have a bunch of, you know, free PSA 10s more for our collection, and we get to open all this stuff. This is awesome. So we're like, yeah, that's not a risk. I mean, it's a few months of credit card payments. I don't care. We'll open 0% credit cards and do it. So, of course, we did it. Opened all the first edition Fossil boxes, and let me tell you one thing. You get PSA 7s and 8s out of brand new boxes handled by adults. I mean, fresh box out of a fresh case out of a fresh pack, pulled by us, into a sleeve immediately, into a semi-rigid, into PSA, very well packaged, comes back a 7. Not kidding. Got many 7s. Not a lot, but you get them. Got 8s, got 9s, got 10s. Now, back then, PSA cards weren't worth anywhere near what they are now, okay? There were PSA 10s that were $500, okay? It's $300 even. It's just how it was. And so, you know, it wasn't like this was like tens of thousands of dollars we're talking about. But it was easy to sell the light packs, recoup about half of your money, all right? We lotted out a lot of the other packs we opened, all the commons and uncommons, as like complete uncommon, common, first edition Fossil sets, you know, mint condition. And so we sold a lot of those that way. And then we would sell the 7s, 8s, and a good amount of the 9s to make sure we got all our money back and some profit, you know, could pay everything off. And then we kept all the 10s. And we did that with a lot of different sets. It wasn't just Fossil, you know. We were talking base, first edition Jungle, first edition Rocket. You know, we did this with a lot of sets. You know, in any set that where we saw like it was financially, the financials were higher to open the box, sell the packs, grade the hollows, and then, you know, all you needed to get was like a couple 10s to make sure you were in the profit. And so we would do that. Some sets didn't make sense at the time, but most sets, you know, at some point during those years, it did, because how the markets work, I don't want to get too much into markets because we're talking about just kind of like my story, but how markets work is sometimes things move ahead of other things. Like the sealed box will move ahead of like the actual pack value and the card value. And then sometimes the card value and the pack value move ahead of the actual box. And so you can buy the box, open it, sell the packs real quick, grade the cards, sell the graded cards, and make a quick profit, a lot more than the actual box was worth. There's some sort of risk in there because, you know, you got guaranteed grades, but basically on an average grading system of getting a couple 10s, mostly 9s, then some 8s and 7s, it always worked out in our favor because, you know, we made the smart decisions with it. But yeah, so over this time, we were able to bank up 500 to 600 PSA cards, all vintage WotC first edition. Except, you know, base set, those were unlimited, and Shadowless. We had some first edition, but not really. So yeah. All vintage WotC first edition, PSA 10, stacks and stacks and stacks of them. It was incredible. And it wasn't even that much money. It wasn't like we were like, it was today. I mean, it was tens of thousands of dollars, but it wasn't what they'd be worth today by any means. So at the same time, we were selling some of the cards because I wanted to move some of the money into sealed product. I got all the sealed boxes now because, like I said, I'm a collector. So I've got unlimited First Ed Jungle, First Ed Fossil, Base 2, First Ed Team Rocket, First Ed Heroes, First Ed Challenge, and had all those. And then I also got, you know, more blister packs. We put extra boxes away just as investment because those were kind of my collection at the time, even though it turned into investment. But we also put away, you know, more sealed product at the time. We both always really believed in sealed products over PSA cards. Obviously, a lot of PSA cards worked out better, but we stocked away a lot of vintage sealed product at that time. And yeah, basically, so we did that over the years. It got to the point where Evolutions was booming. I think it was like 17, 18, something like that. And we kind of got to that point where we're seeing Evolutions go crazy, always disappearing from the shelves. Every, you know, YouTuber at the time was opening it. Everyone loved it. The chart, you know, everyone just kind of has that Charizard artwork in their brain. So any set with that artwork just kind of blows up, just like Legendary Collection did. And yeah, so that was blowing up. I was opening it. I loved it. And it got to, I mean, I opened, I don't know, over 3 cases worth of evolutions probably in that time. And it got to the point where we were just started seeing modern being the next, kind of the next step. And so we started putting money into modern at that time like crazy. It was like back when eBay would give these coupons for like huge percents off of certain amount of orders. And so we were buying Evolutions cases with all the discounts and credit card fees, credit card rewards. We were getting Evolutions cases for like $450. Less than Battle Styles, right? And it felt like a year, maybe a year and a half went by, and all of a sudden you could sell a single box for $900. It was the craziest run up I had ever seen. By that time I had myself, my friend had multiple cases too, but I had myself 6 cases of sealed Evolutions at the time. We had sealed everything. We had, you know, a lot of XY sets sealed. I didn't have Flash Fire, Phantom Forces, none of the big ones. But I had all the mid XY all the way through in the Sun and Moon sets. At least a case of each, you know, multiple cases of a lot of the good sets. I had the most Evolutions. I had 6-7 cases of Evolutions. Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted sealed product. But again, we still had the PSA cards, but we didn't really, I wasn't really buying PSA cards. That was one of the mistakes I made. I missed it. I missed the fact that enough people were going to want a perfect copy of a card, as opposed to, you know, just wanting the card in general, because, you know, I thought about it. I thought about doing the things that, you know, other large YouTubers have talked about doing and investing really heavily into graded cards. And, you know, I made the wrong decision. I saw, like, I would see a graded card in a PSA 10, and I would look at how many of the regular Ghost cards are out there. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's, you know, 300 complete sets. There's all these raw cards. There's tons of these things available. They're everywhere. I failed to realize that the scarcity of getting an actual PSA 10 and how many people would actually want to have a PSA 10 copy as opposed to a 9 or an 8 or just a raw card. And so that was a mistake I made. But when the whole Logan Paul boom happened, by that time we had just, I mean, shelves full and closets full of Pokemon stuff. And we had conversations, you know, weekly about doing it full time, about opening an actual shop or going in full time, you know, starting a YouTube channel to kind of help our business grow and all that. And, you know, just never did it. We both had, you know, making steady money at what we were doing. We both didn't want to take the risk. We both had, you know, nice houses and kind of nice life set up, both married, and we just didn't want to take the risk. We didn't want to take the risk. We had comfortable lives set up, and it just wasn't in the cards at that time. And yeah, so anyways, Logan Paul boom happened. Into that boom, anyone part of it can tell you, but you can't explain, like, the euphoria of seeing those amount of gains. Like, being able to buy a Burning Shadows booster case for $600, and by the time they ship it and it reaches your doorstep, you literally pick it up off your doorstep, go check eBay, and it's $800. Like, that's this kind of ridiculousness stuff that was happening. Like, I bought what did I buy? I was buying like a Flash Fire box for like $2,000 because I was completing my booster box collection with it. And by the time it got to me, the lowest one on the market was $2,800. Like, just stuff like that, like 3 days in the mail, and that's how it was. You know, because we were so high in the Evolutions and we saw all the Evolutions, Charizards going crazy, we were buying up base set Charizards. So at one time together we had like 11 base set PSA 9 Charizards, and our average cost on them was $1,400. And so as the spike went up, and to preface all this again, me and him had both been involved in the stock market since we were like 18 years old. I got in when I was 18. I've been investing, me and my wife's Roth IRA retirements the whole time. You know, I talked about in another video, I had a stint with day trading. I no longer do that, but I still invest all of our own money. And yeah, so we both had very very long-term knowledge of markets, how booms and busts occur. And this was the most obvious boom and bust scenario. This was like tulip bulb mania. This was the stock market crash of 07. This was so easy to see coming. When the base that P-Sign Charizards were going from, $1,400 up to, $7,000 at the highs. When these vintage boxes I bought for like $2,000, $1,500, $1,000. Put it this way, when I started collecting very beginning, base set box was $800, and a first edition base set box was on the market for $10,000. Buy it now or best offer, and it sat there. It didn't sell. You probably would have taken an offer under $10,000. So that gives you an idea. But seeing the base set box go from the $2,000 I paid all the way up to, I don't know, $35,000, $40,000 at the high, I don't remember. Seeing all that crazy stuff happen, seeing our PSA cards rise from like $300 to $3,000. I remember the Dragonite went from like, I don't know, $500 to like $3,000 within a matter of months, I think. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. So we had a lot of arguments, me and my buddy, back and forth about like, holding forever, having diamond hands. And eventually we came to that conclusion that, hey, you do what you want with, your stuff. Anything we own together, we gotta sell. Like, I want to be out. I know you're mixed, but maybe you keep your stuff, but we gotta sell the stuff we're in together. I'm selling my stuff, man. And that's what I did. I have no regrets with anything I did. I believe I set me and my wife's life up by doing that. I paid off all of our debts, paid off our cars, paid off our student loans, bought a house, got a hot tub, totally redid the house, put a deck on, put a fence up. I used all the extra money at that time because as Pokemon during the pandemic and Logan Paul was doing this, I saw the stock market doing this. And as I saw this bust, this boom, and this bust, I took it all out of this boom. I put it all into the things that we needed for our lives where we wouldn't have any stress or be financially stressed in our lives, have financial freedom. And I threw the rest of the money in the stock market, and we all know what happened with that. It turned around, and I looked like a freaking genius. My buddy who didn't sell all his, he thought I was a genius. I felt like a genius. Because whenever you make moves like that, you feel like you're a genius. And yeah, I used knowledge that I had. I saw certain things coming. I made some smart decisions, but, obviously you can never plan for these types of black swan events. And as much as I want to act like, I'm just the smartest person in the world and I just know markets like the back of my hand, I don't. I still make mistakes today, but that was pretty easy to see coming. So, yeah, I didn't hit the absolute top of Logan Paul. What happened was, it was still on the way up. Base boxes were like high 20s. Base set boxes were high 20s. Charizards were selling for the 4,000s and 5,000s at this time. And my local card shop, they have a relationship with Troll and Toad. And they got me in contact with an operations manager at Troll and Toad. And we talked over the phone. I sent him a lot of pictures. And we came up with a deal. So, me and my friend packed everything up, rented a car, drove to Kentucky. That's where Troll and Toad is. And this is a story in and of itself. I'll tell it quickly. I know this video is going long. Thanks for everyone sticking with me. So what we did is when we were driving up Troll and Toad, my buddy makes this stupid comment like, what if we just get there and there's like a bunch of drug addicts out front and it's just like some rundown place and you don't even want to go in. I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, one of the best Pokemon, biggest Pokemon sellers online is going to be some rundown building. Yeah, I'm picturing like, Taj Mahal, like, ivory towers. And we pull up, I kid you not, it is just an unmarked, beat down old warehouse in Kentucky. And we pull in and there's just like a bunch of scary looking people outside, wearing black, smoking cigarettes, kind of walking around a little slow, creepily. And I look at him, I go, why did you have to say anything? And we just start cracking up like, what are we doing here, man? We got hundreds of thousands of dollars in this car in Pokemon product, and we're going to just walk it in. I'm like, all right, you stay here. I'm going to go in. So I walk in the building, and now I'm even more nervous. I look down the hall. Has anyone's ever been to Troll and Toad? You know this. There was pork rinds, like, there along the wall. like there was like another company operating out of it. And like I look forward, there's like a whole warehouse of like stuff going. It's not Pokemon cards. They're like doing other work. And then I look to the right, and it's like an office. And someone walks out of the office over to me and says, "Hi, can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for Troll and Toad Trading Card Company." Like, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're Troll and Toad." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I have a meeting with." I'm not gonna use his name. And they go, "Oh yeah, we're expecting you. Do you have it with you?" I said, "Yeah. I just want to make sure everything was safe." They're like, "Oh yeah, everything's safe. No problem. Just bring it in here. We have a private room for you." I go, "Okay." So went out back to the car. I said, "Hey man, it's super sketchy in there too, but I met with someone. They said, yeah, they're waiting for us." So he goes, "All right, man." So we get out with our duffel bags, walk in, go in this room. A guy like our age, like we're in our 20s at the time, a guy like our age comes over. We take all the boxes out. I mean, I thought it was going to be some big authentication process. He literally picks them up for like 5 seconds a piece, just kind of looks at them, does that with all the boxes, okay? Says, "Okay, everything looks good. I'm going to go initiate the wires." So we stand there. He comes back in the room about 5 minutes later. He said, "All right, check your accounts. The wires should go through." So we look at our accounts. Sure enough, the bank wires went right through. And we have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in our account. And so I'm just like, "Okay, man, so this has been a pleasure." And that feeling of walking out to your car and having that kind of money, growing up middle class, never poor, but obviously our parents made money, but I never had any money to my name like that. It's one of the best feelings you could ever have, I'll be honest. And that whole trip home was just kind of euphoric, just like that idea of the stress is gone. These huge investments are unloaded. I don't have to worry about getting up every day and watching what the market's doing. The cash is in the account. That was one of the best feelings. And that was kind of the start of just the unloading. I can't even tell you how many eBay listings I had. I can't tell you how many deals I worked and, local stuff and meeting people. And that whole year was just like a whirlwind. I can't even remember it. I made so many sales, so many deals. We were so many cards, and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars later, we got to the point of where I'm at now. And everyone, watches these videos and thinks I have this massive collection. And I know this looks like it sometimes, but no, I don't have a massive collection left. I have some. I have some of the stuff you see, which is not very valuable. I have some, higher end parts of my collection. I know I said I was going to share every single thing. I probably won't share some of the things. Some of the PSA cards and some of the other stuff. Gotta keep you guessing on some stuff. And then as far as like what I'm invested in, I guess you could call some of that stuff my collection investments. But it's mostly, like I said in my videos, it's modern sealed. I have just cases of booster boxes, cases of elite trainer boxes. I have super premium, ultra premium boxes, some collection boxes, all from XY and forward. That's basically what it is. I stuck true to it. I did sell almost all my evolutions during that boom. I can't believe it's still as high as it is, but yeah, I sold all my cases of evolutions when it was in the 900s, all of them. So yeah, when you paid $4.50 a case and you're able to sell your boxes at $900 a piece, so your case is now worth $5,400. You don't wait and see what's going to happen at that point. All right, you fire sell that stuff. Okay, at some point you have to know when the tops have been hit, and that's kind of what I saw with Logan Paul. I saw the tops being hit, and I knew this time was coming. This kind of time that everyone's scared and everything's kind of down and no one knows what's going to happen. But I did always know that sealed product, unless it has those spikes, it will have to correct. But over time, it still will rise. And so I knew that getting in all those modern boxes in the 80s and 90s, and it wouldn't be that larger risk, or I didn't know how long of a wait it would be, but I knew in the future we would see what we are seeing now. And so all of my XY and Sun and Moon investments are hundreds and hundreds of % up. Besides Crimson Invasion, which I have a case of it, whatever, I don't have a lot. But yeah, everything else done very well. I don't regret a single thing. I'm so happy at the life I set up for us, like I said, I set up a life for us. I was able to have us debt free and buy all the things we wanted. We got a hot tub, updated house. We took nice vacations. The money that I put in the market, made us more fortune. And not a millionaire. I don't have $1 million. I don't even have $1 million net worth. I didn't hit it that big. We had conversations all the time back then about going all in, about taking every bit of cash we could get, mortgaging our houses, taking all the equity out, getting 0% interest credit cards and maxing out. We wanted to. We wanted to go in Pokemon at like $200,000-$300,000 back before anything happened. Like, put it this way, $200,000-$300,000 into Logan Paul Spike would have made you, $2-3 million at the low end, like 10 times at the low end. The high end, in the deca millions. So, yeah, we missed it. We missed it pretty hard, but I still don't. That's what I regret, is not buying more at the times. I don't regret selling. I don't care about the people who call me not a true collector, because in the beginning, that's all I started as a collector. And yeah, I made moves based on financial gain, but at the end, I'm still left with my collection. I still have all my old binder sets of all the sets. Yeah, I'm still a collector at heart, but yeah, I made decisions based on finances because sometimes the real world, real life has to come before just a kid's nostalgic dream to own all the Pokemon. And yeah, so where I'm at now is, I still have a small collection. I have modern investments, and I'm slowly trying to rebuild my old collection with with profits that I make from investments, with just money I make from working. And me and my wife are just trying to enjoy our lives, and I made this YouTube channel to help others do the same thing. It's still possible. This was possible 7 years ago. It was possible 4 years ago. It's possible today. Now, those crazy gains, those Black Swan event gains aren't possible, but if you're asking me if it's possible to make very large returns in Pokemon product compared to real estate, stock market, other investments, savings accounts, still possible. Hey, why would I still be doing it with my money? Why would I still be putting large amounts of money into Pokemon every month, sometimes daily? Okay? It's because I still believe in it. Like I said, I'll get into other products, graded cards. I'll get into other stuff in other videos. I just wanted to do this video because I get asked a lot of these type of questions, like, my collection, my investment, how I got started, what it was like back 7 years ago. So I just want to try and give that whole overview in this video. So I hope it helps. I know this was a long one. If anyone did stay this long, I want to see who the real ones are. Leave, Philly cheesesteak in the comment section. Anyone who leaves Philly cheesesteak in the comment section, I know that you're a real one. You're a ride or die. And you know what? If I see that like a lot of people didn't leave that in the comment, if it's only like a couple of you, maybe I'll have some sort of prize or some sort of giveaway or something. I need to think about that. We'll see how many people actually stay this long, because if there's not that many, if it's just a few you ride or dies, if you're the real ones, maybe I might have to treat you to something, because that takes a lot to sit through an almost 40-minute video now. Okay, so appreciate you staying. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. My name's Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. I'll be back here with a new video soon. I'm out.